Are you kidding me with this guy? Everything he said, literally everything he just said in this video was wrong. And he has 100,000 more followers than I do. Is that what I need to do? Do I just need to lie to you people to get my message out or something? Because everything, literally everything in this guy's video was incorrect. Starting off with the Brazilians and the Chinese. So the Brazilians came to a bilateral agreement with China to conduct trade between the two nations with their respective currencies. Brazil isn't getting rid of its dollars. It's just decided to trade with China in a real yuan exchange. And even then, I'm a bit skeptical that they're going to be able to pull off a complete exchange. Maybe half of it or 3/4 or even 90%, but there's still some goods that they're going to have to trade as third-party markets that are going to be denominated in dollars. Neither here nor there. But Brazil is not giving up the dollar for the remainder of its trade. Brazil does 30% of its trade with China. The other 70%, including their number 2 trading partner, which is the United States, will absolutely be in US dollars. This guy says the Brazilian president said the value of the dollar is falling but when you look further out than just a few days, it's not true. The value of the dollar is actually higher against both the yuan and the real over the last year. Inflation is actually what's causing the dollar to rise. In 2022, bilateral trade between the US and Brazil reached a new record of $88.7 billion. This was a 26% growth over 2021. Whatever he thinks is happening between US-Brazilian trade, where the Brazilians are ditching the US, is flat wrong. The reality is Brazil trades with China for different things than it trades with the United States. So we're not actually in competition with the Chinese here. I mean, according to the most recent report by the Central Bank of Brazil, the United States is the largest source of direct investment stocks by final beneficiary to Brazil. This is a Brazilian central bank report. These investments total $192 billion in 2021, and it is 4 times more than China's investments in Brazil. It is flat out laughable that this guy says the world is demanding Chinese yuan and Russian currency over the US dollar. The ruble is actually down 20% against the US dollar since November. In September, the yuan was at its lowest point against the dollar since 2008. In fact, so long as the Fed maintains these high interest rates, the dollar is going to remain strong against other countries' currencies. Something that everyone knows. That's economics 101. What's even more strange is countries like Brazil and Ecuador and Colombia, etc. They hold stores of dollars as if it's gold because it is a secure reserve. They don't hold other countries' currencies in reserve to the level that they hold the US dollar. It's like a huge margin even. I mean, I think between Brazil and China, they have over $1 trillion in US dollar reserves. That's common knowledge. You just don't get rid of your dollars and say, I've de-dollarized and still have over $1 trillion in dollar reserves. There are currently $13 trillion US dollars in US dollar denominated debt, meaning people across the globe, other countries, organizations, whatever, are having to pay their debts by contract in US dollars, $13 trillion. On top of that, the World Economic Forum said that there is additional, on top of this $13 trillion, an additional $65 trillion in unrecorded dollar-denominated debt circulating the global financial system. Let me put that in perspective to you. The whole world's GDP is $104 trillion. There is $65 trillion in US dollar denominated debt. The world is not de-dollarizing because they can't afford to de-dollarize because their debts are required by contract to be paid in dollars. This means they have to own dollars. This means that they have to buy dollars and there's a demand for dollars. Furthermore, 14 countries either use the US dollar as their currency or peg their currency against the US dollar. That totals 422 million people. 422 million people use the dollar or peg their currency to the dollar. When you add in what he talks about is Europe and North America, we get a 1.3 billion people. So I have no idea where this 90% of the world is de-dollarizing. It's flat out not. And that 1.3 billion people of North America, Europe, and the countries that are pegged to the US dollar or use the US dollar doesn't include our economic alliances in Asia, to include Japan, South Korea, Australia, etc. The Japanese are the largest holder of US dollar denominated treasury bonds, just ahead of, China. India, which is soon to be the world's largest country by population, still conducts 86% of its trade in dollars. That's 2022 numbers. While only 5% of their trade is with the US, meaning, yes, they trade with the US, but still 86% of their trade is in dollars. Doesn't matter who they're trading with. It's in dollars. Because you know why? In 2022, 80% of Chinese trade was conducted in US dollars. 80%. Their own currency that is supposed to be the one they're using with Brazil does not dominate their own trade. 80% of Chinese trade is in US dollars. Hell, I think the next one is the euro. It's not even the yuan, and maybe that's number 3, but the dollar is 80%. So I don't know where this guy gets this 90% of the world has ditched American money, but it is 100% wrong. In 2022, 88% of the global trade was conducted in US dollars. Almost 9/10 of everything bought and sold in the world was in US dollars. 4% was in yuan. That's a massive disparity. That is an insurmountable disparity to overcome in the next 10 years. Hell, I would say it's insurmountable in my lifetime, but I'll give some people the benefit of the doubt that the yuan may be able to usurp the dollar in 10 years, but it's not. Both the euro and the yen were involved in more global trade than the yuan. So this guy is wrong. And I, honest to God, don't know what I need to do. Maybe I just need to start lying to fearmonger in order to get more followers, because for some reason this dude's got 100,000 more than me. And here I am just telling everybody statistics that it takes me forever to find, and looking at International Monetary Fund and World Economic Forum, and here he is just blasting bullshit from Glenn Beck or something. Unbelievable.